you wake up, just remember, friends are forever.
Everyone has precious childhood memories they hold on to. It's not until you grow up when you realize those memories are truly nightmares. I had recently finished my final year at school and had decided to enjoy my last summer vacation at my hometown. It sounds strange since college is where all the parties and fun summer events are held. Also, since this was the last time I could enjoy such events, but I've gotten a taste of it last year and it's not my type of thing. My parents rarely use my childhood home anymore, they only use it in the beginning of each year for a month or two. So I decided to live there for the time being. My parents told me they were fine with it over a phone call, saying as long as I pay the bills, which I was fine with. I hadn't been in my hometown for a year, so I lost my job as a grocery store bagger. I decided to resort to the newspaper ads since I was too lazy to go driving around town or searching online for one. I flipped through the employment section of the newspaper. Babysitter? No. Exterminator? Nah. Newspaper delivery? Nope. I did a good 5 minutes of scanning until I came across a rather interesting one. It was a job for one of my favorite childhood places, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Freddy's was an awesome place that my mother took me to whenever my father wasn't in town or I just behaved long enough to get a special treat. Unfortunately, the job was for a security guard during the night. Not my ideal position, but I just couldn't turn down Freddy. I immediately circled the ad with my pen and called up the pizzeria. They said I could have the job without getting an interview. They just asked for my name, Mike Schmidt, and my age, 23. I was then told that I could start this fall. November to be exact. I was a little surprised. This fall? I began to rethink even working here, but then I remembered all the cash I earned while at my job in college. I'd have enough money to get by a couple months before November. I decided to take the job. Yes. I cheered, knowing now that I have a job at one of my favorite childhood places ever, and that the job doesn't take up any of my time during my day. I then went upstairs to my old room to sleep, knowing I'd be alright this summer and coming winter. The next day, I decided to take a little tour of my old town. I did a good walk down Main Street, went through the community park, and even passed by Freddy's. It was good to look at that place again. I didn't want to go inside because I'm sure people would find it weird for a grown man with no child to walk into a children's place of happiness. Basically, I'd look like a pedophile. While walking down one of the busiest streets in my town, I saw a newspaper article stating murder case of 5 children reopens in bold letters on the top. I didn't want to take too long of a glance at it, but then I realized that the picture to go along with the title was Freddy Fazbear. I was confused, and decided to take a copy and read it. Supposedly, a man dressed up like Freddy Fazbear, and lure children away from their parents to kill them. I was shocked and disgusted with whoever would do this. The next couple of months weren't eventful. None of my childhood friends returned home like I did, even knowing I was here. I saw some old relatives and my parents thought about visiting me, but blew me off. Heck, I even went out on 2 dates with this beautiful girl who I realized was just choosing me to get back at her ex. I didn't really even do anything special besides that. I just lied around on my couch watching movies and TV shows. Things went on and on like that until November came. November 8th to be exact. It was my first day on the job. I had little money left, so it was good to finally start getting an income again. Night number 1. It was Monday night, and I was about to head out to the pizzeria. I was a bit excited and worried at the same time. Excited because I was starting a new job at one of my favorite childhood spots, and worried because I would be there all night. I was planning on sleeping the whole day to rest up for the rest of the night, but I just couldn't fall asleep. Oh well, I said to myself, not giving it too much thought. When I arrived at Freddy's, a man was waiting outside for me. "Hello, are you the owner here?" I asked.
Who wants to know?
He responded. "I'm Mike Schmidt, here for the night watch job," I said.
Oh yes. How could I forget? Who else would be here at 12 a.m.?
He chuckled. "Neighborhood watch?" I added, laughing slightly. "Are you the one who's going to teach me the basics?" I continued.
No, I'm just the owner, as you guessed. I'm here to just give you a pair of keys to the place. Your mentor left a message for you in the security office. Well, here you go.
He handed me the keys.
Remember, your shift always starts at 12 a.m. and doesn't end until 6 a.m. You got it?
He asked, sounding a bit anxious. "Yes, of course, sir," I replied.
Good. Well, good night, son. Don't mess this up, or else you're out.
He said, walking towards his car. "Good night," I called, but I do not think he heard me. I then opened the door to the place. Fortunately, he left it unlocked for me. Not that it's much of a deal if it wasn't. After all, I had keys. I then looked around the place. A huge sense of nostalgia hit me like a ginormous wave. I then recalled sitting at the party tables with my mother and friends, eating pizza and watching Freddy and the band sing. I then looked to the stage. There they were. Freddy, Chica, and Bonnie. Oh, how nice it was to recite those names again. After I relived my childhood memories, I then scanned the rest of the building, looking for the security office. My guess was that it was in the back of the building, which it was. I peeked in to see that there was no one in there. I walked into the room somewhat annoyed by the sounds of the rotary fan. I thought about turning it off, but then I realized how warm the room was. I had no choice but to keep it running. I also noticed a little beep sound going off every couple seconds. I located the sound to be a message machine. I pressed the play button. A voice came on. I was surprised and wondered who it was. Was it my mentor?
Hello? Hello? Hi. I'm the old security guard at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Hopefully you are getting this message. I need to explain to you what to do. Now, I'm actually finishing my last week here. That's why you're getting my job. I got my hours changed to 11:30 p.m. since I didn't have to up so late anymore. Sorry, that's your job now. Let me explain to you the basics so you can get through your first week. Now, on the table you're hopefully at, you should see a tablet.
I glanced over the table and saw that the man was right. There was a large tablet with grey trim sitting on the table. I picked it up and turned it on.
If you see it, turn it on. The first thing you should see is a camera view of the main show stage, along with a lot of different square buttons on a map. Those square buttons are actually all security cameras that you need to check every now and then to make sure someone or something didn't break into this place. The map is actually wholly out of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, so you can get a pretty good idea of where things are. Now, I know what you are thinking. Who in the right mind would sneak into a child's place of fun? People aren't the problem here. It's actually the animatronics. You know, Freddy and his pals.
I was confused. I tapped each camera looking around seeing if anything was in the building. There was nothing.
What I mean by that,
he continued,
is that the animatronics get a little quirky at night. They're left in some sort of free roam mode at night for some reason and walk around the whole building. They used to be able to do that during the day, but then there was the bite of 87. Yeah, I don't want to go too deep into that, but let me just say that it's shocking that the human body can survive without the frontal lobe.
I was getting a little creeped out now, checking the cameras again to once more find nothing.
I'm gonna move on now. Now, the characters here, when they see you, will not see you as a worker because it's nighttime. They'll actually see you as an endoskeleton, without its costume on. Now, since that's against the rules here at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, they'll try to forcefully shove you into a Freddy Fazbear suit. Now, that would not be so bad if it weren't for the suits being filled with animatronic devices and crossbeams, especially around the facial area. So, you can understand that would cause a bit discomfort, and I'm deaf. The only parts of your body that would see the light of day again would be your eyeballs and teeth when they pop out of the front of the mask.
I was absolutely shocked now. I didn't know what to do. I checked the camera once more to see that Bonnie was no longer on the stage. I was filled with fear and anxiety while I checked the rest of the cameras. I then saw Bonnie standing in the audience area. I was so scared, and then paid close attention to what the man said next.
I just want you to know that there's really nothing to worry about. It may sound scary, yeah, but really, you'll be fine. Now, let me explain to you what happens if a character gets a little too close to you. Next to you, there are buttons for each door. One for closing the door and the other for enabling the door lights.
I tested it out. He was right, the doors and lights would open and close and turn on and off on command. I once again checked the cameras to see that Bonnie was in the hall right next to me. I was prepared to close the door if it came closer.
Frequently check those lights to see if the character is out there. Don't be worried at all, but if you ever do see a character, close the door. As soon as they are gone, you can open them back up. Also, keep an eye on a specific character in Pirate Cove. It seems to respond if the camera is on or off it for too long. Just don't worry, you'll be fine. First day will be a breeze. Check those cameras and, oh yeah, make sure you don't run out of power. You only get a certain amount each night. Using all the appliances wastes more of it, so conserve it. Talk to you tomorrow. Good night.
The message ended. I checked my cameras and sure enough, it had a power percentage there. It said I have 80%. Wow, 20% gone in 5 minutes. Maybe it's because I left the screens on all this time. That might be a bad idea. What else did he say? A character in Pirate Cove. I never remembered that place as a child. I then checked through the cameras until I found Pirate Cove. There was a curtain there, but it was closed. I took that as a good sign. I then checked the hall where Bonnie was to see if she was there. I came to the conclusion that with a name like Bonnie it must be a girl. She wasn't there. I checked the next camera closest to me to see that she wasn't there either. I was confused. She wouldn't just leave the area. I then decided to check those door lights. Nothing on the right. Then I checked the left and to my disbelief, there was Bonnie, staring at me. I smashed that door button as hard and as fast as I possibly could. I was terrified, but then realized that they weren't real people trying to hurt me, they were just robots. I calmed down, and pressed the door light button to see if I could see Bonnie's shadow or something. There was nothing showing that Bonnie was there. Hesitantly, I opened the door, and to my surprise, Bonnie wasn't there. The night went on pretty similar to that. Bonnie got close to me a couple times and the curtain at Pirate Cove opened a little bit, but I saw nothing in there. Chica and Freddy stayed on the stage, thankfully, and I finished the night with 14% power to spare. I overcame my fears of them trying to kill me and simply thought they were just trying to play. I left Freddy's and went home to sleep the day away. I was exhausted.